All right. What is going on? I'm gonna give it a few minutes for people to hop on here, and then we will jump into today's training. And today's training is all about becoming a listing agent, and not just a listing agent. Like today's all about becoming a highly productive, highly profitable listing agent. And so wherever you're at, wherever you're watching this right now, I'm encouraging you to sit down and focus really for the next 60 to 90 minutes. Now, for an agent to focus for 60 to 90 minutes, I understand how hard that is for people. You know, they can't even listen to a whole song, let alone focus for 60 to 90 minutes. But that's going to be what you learn today on today's training is how to focus, what you need to do in order to become a listing agent. So before I get started, there are a couple links below this video that if you haven't already, you can grab our scripts below this video. Just hit the link and you can download our scripts for free. You can go to our For Sale by Owner training and get that training for free. Just click the link below this video. And then you can also get leads from the RedX, and they will waive the startup fee that you can do that as well. So if you need any of those things before we start, go ahead and go down there, download it, get whatever you need, all right? Now, how this is gonna go today, if you have questions, you can put them in the comment box, and I'll answer those after I get through the training today. So if you have questions or you have comments, put them in the comment box, and then I will go through one by one and answer every single one of them. All right, fair enough? So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's what we're going to cover today. So we're going to walk through, number one thing that we're going to walk through is who you must become in order to transition from wherever you're at today, whether that be working with buyers or whatever the case may be, to becoming a listing agent. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do that, like how to make that transformation into this new person who's going to be a highly achieving listing agent, making the money that you want, controlling your income, controlling your schedule, and hopefully put you in a position where you can take the weekends off with your friends or your family members and focus just on listing. So that's going to be the first thing we cover. The second thing we cover is the perfect schedule. All right, I'm going to walk you through the perfect listing agent schedule and the success habits of a great listing agent. What's up, Ron? James, Sean, welcome you guys. Eric, welcome. Then once I walk you through that, I'm going to walk you through my 5 top sources of getting listings. And so I'll talk a little bit about each one of those sources. And then I'll end this training with strategies and tactics so that you can go out into the marketplace and start getting listings. So with that being said, if you can actually focus for the next 60 to 90 minutes, that's super exciting. If you can't, hopefully you can watch this and piece this thing together over the next couple of weeks, because what I'm going to teach you to do is how to focus and how to cure yourself from instant gratification and short-term thinking and quick fixes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So number one, and I'm going to draw this on the board for you guys. If you guys can see me and hear me okay, just put a comment below. Just say, yep, I can hear you, or give me a thumbs up, or like this video really quick. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. Oh, we got our first person that's already leaving. No problem, Ronald. Best of luck on your listing appointment. So give me a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Awesome. Adam, perfect. And you can hear. All right, good. All right, so I'm going to start off with something that we call like your current self, okay? So like where you are today. And we're going to call this your current baseline. And so whoever you are today, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad. I'm just saying you come to this training today being who you are. It just is, okay? So that might mean that you are someone who is easily distracted. That might mean that you are somebody who can't focus for a long period of time on anything, let alone listing property. Maybe you have a bad mindset or a bad belief system when it comes to how to get listings. And maybe you're in a bad financial position. Maybe you don't have a lot of money saved up and you're not making a lot of money today. Maybe you have a low skill set. And maybe you have a shitty diet, right? Maybe you have a shitty diet, you don't exercise, you don't take care of yourself, you don't take care of your mind or your body. Well, today's training, I'm going to show you who you must become in order to become a listing agent, all right? So I'm not going to rush through this at all today. So the first thing that you have to understand is this is baseline, all right? So let me just put this down here, actually. So this is your current self. All right, so this is current. Oh boy, don't start that already. So current self. Okay, so this is where you are today. And maybe that means that, again, maybe you have some bad habits. Wherever you're at in life, it doesn't matter. That's where you're at, and that's what you're here to do, is to learn how to become somebody different, okay? So you need to elevate into what we call your new self, okay? Somebody who is not distracted, somebody who can focus for a long period of time, somebody who takes care of their mind and their body, has a great healthy diet. And so I'm going to show you how to change, how to go from right here where you're at today to right here. This new person that maybe your wife or your husband looks at and says, damn, I don't know who you are, but I really like this person you're becoming. You're waking up early, your car's clean, your house is clean, you're eating really good, you're saving money, you're focused on building a listing business. You've got a really strong, positive mental attitude, where in the past you were negative about things, right? So I'm going to show you how to become this new person, all right? So one of the things that we want to look at is your internal tracking system, okay? So the internal tracking system, what I mean by that is, so you've got your current self with all your bad habits, okay? So you've got your bad habits and you've got good habits. North, south, east, west. So now once you understand your current self and you are self-aware of, yeah, I struggle with this, I'm addicted to social media, I eat like shit, I don't work out, and I sleep in, and I love Netflix, okay? Once you understand that about yourself, and maybe you are that person today and maybe you're not, you understand you need to become somebody different in order to get a different result. We could probably agree to that. Yes? Cool. Well, your internal compass, as you go through your days and weeks, okay? When you're going through your days and your weeks and you're on this quest and this mission becoming a top listing agent, you can now have an internal clock saying, okay, when I get distracted, when I'm prospecting for listings, and I see a notification on Facebook or a new YouTube video from this guy that I love to follow, if you click that, if you get distracted, that's called regressing to baseline, okay? So maybe you're climbing this mountain, and this internal compass is going to act as a guide for you. And that guide's going to say, are you progressing? Are you progressing to this new self, or are you retracting to baseline? And you need to constantly say that. You need to constantly tell yourself that. Am I progressing towards my new self, my new goal, or me clicking on this YouTube video, is that regressing to my old self, my old habits, right? Am I being distracted, or am I focused on the main thing that's going to help me get to where I want to go? So let that be your internal compass. So the first thing that I'm going to teach you today is something called second order consequences, delayed gratification, and time. All right, so let me get into this. I'm going to explain to you how this works. So most people don't know, and they've never heard second order consequences today, or second order consequences. And here's what it means. So let me give you an example. But second order consequences is essentially enjoying a better today at the cost of tomorrow. All right. So here's how it works. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So there's this 70-inch TV, and it's at Costco. And you go and you're walking through Costco, and you see this TV. All right. So the first decision that's easy to make. All right. So the first decision is an impulse. It's an impulse. I want that TV. I want it. That's like your first decision. I want that TV, and I want it right now. Okay? So I want it right now. So, this 70-inch TV, let's just call it, I don't know how much they are nowadays, $1,500. Okay? And you don't want to spend $1,500 cash to go and buy the TV. So what do? You finance it. Okay? So you finance it. You finance the TV. All is well. Like, you're super excited. Like, it's the best thing ever right now. I'm getting this new 70-inch plasma from Costco. It was $3,000. I got 50% off. I'm going to finance it. So remember, second order consequences is enjoying a better today at the cost of tomorrow. Now, watch how this works. Here's where the second order consequences come in. Second order. This is what, and this, you're probably asking, what in the hell, Brandon, does this have to do with listing property? This is going to blow your mind. This has everything to do with listing property. All right. So here's how this works. The second order consequence is, now that you bought this damn TV, well, what do you have to do? Well, number one, when you get home, you got to spend a whole bunch of time putting it together, right? Putting it on the wall. So you got to install the damn thing. That's number one. Then number two is you got to get it hooked up to cable. Number three, here's probably one of the worst parts about it. You got to watch the damn thing. You got to watch it. Major distraction. You got to go spend hours and binge on Netflix when you should be focused on becoming your new self. Remember that? So now you got to watch this damn thing for hours and hours and hours and hours and go and binge watch one Netflix series after the next. It gets worse. It gets worse. Number four, now you get payments in the mail. And now you got to pay for this damn thing, right? This is an example of second order consequences. You see, when we make an instant decision based on instant gratification, like buying the TV at Costco because it felt really, really good right now to do it, and we got that dopamine and we got that instant gratification, we weren't thinking about any of these other things, right? So this is taking away time from either your family life, or your business life, or your fitness, or your finance, because you got to watch fucking TV, right? You're watching TV. You got to hook it up. You got to install it. You got to make payments on this thing over time. That creates now more pain. It brings you away from your goals. And that is an example of a second order consequence. So let me give you some more examples, and I'll fly through these now that you understand what a second order consequence is. And I'm going to make this really clear on how this relates to listing property in just a second. All right. So maybe a lot of people, maybe I've lost a lot of people already, but that's all right. So stay with me here. Here's another example. Eating bad food, right? Going out to eat and getting the cheeseburger and the chili cheese fries. Well, making that decision and having a beer with it too, right? Eating the cheeseburger and the French fries and the beer, I mean, it tastes really, really good right now. You know what I mean? It tastes really, really good right now. And we get that instant gratification, but at the cost of tomorrow, at the cost of feeling like shit in the morning, right? Then not working out, and having a bad diet and no exercise, how that could maybe cause some heart problems in the future, and cause all kinds of all kinds of havoc on your life. Well, because it felt good today. I wanted the instant gratification today. I drink the alcohol, I get the buzz, I get drunk. That feels really, really good today at the cost of tomorrow. Now, let me relate this to real estate. Okay? So this is going to blow your guys' mind. I'm going to give you a really, really good example. Let me just get my notes here, make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So the important thing to know, which I'm about to walk you through in just a second, is pretty much all things that feel good right now are bad for us in the future. And the opposite of that is true. Typically, things that put us in pain today are usually good for us long term. And I'm going to show you how this works in real estate. This is what most real estate agents go through. All right. And you're gonna really resonate with this a lot. So, how does this relate to real estate? All right. So, I'm going to draw this line right here. And this is you. This is your baseline. We talked about this. This is your current self, your current beliefs, your current mindset. This is all who you are today. All right. And on the bottom of baseline, we're going to just say this is going to be pain. And this is going to be pleasure. And again, things that put us in pleasure today, like right now, instant gratification, are typically bad for us long term, right? I go out to eat with people and they're pouring a bunch of hot sauce on their food. Well, because they need that instant gratification. They need to feel something right now versus eating bland, healthy food. They don't get any gratification from that now, right? And so that's long-term thinking. That's delayed gratification. And I'll just tell you guys right now, becoming a listing agent has everything to do with delayed gratification. So let me show you how this is going to work. All right. So this is pleasure up here. This is pain down here. And this is you right here. Okay. Now, the reason agents work with buyers, okay, the reason why they work with buyers is because an agent can go and, purchase leads from Zillow, and they can get leads right now. And they get a lead right now, and they can go show that client a house tomorrow. That feels really good. I feel really productive. You know what I mean? I took an action and I got a result right away. It released dopamine. I got gratification from it now, just like a like on Instagram or Facebook. Like, I just want those likes. I need those likes, right? Well, agents do this all the time with buyer leads. So they buy buyer leads off the internet. Well, here's what happens. So these agents buy buyer leads and they continue to work with buyers. And there comes a point in time where their business plateaus. Well, why does it plateau, Brandon? Well, all of you that are watching this know and understand that you can only work with so many buyers. Would you agree? Give me a thumbs up or give me a comment. Let me know that you agree that working with buyers, you can only work with so many. Okay? So it felt good today. This is today. Okay? This is today. So today felt really good. I'm working with all these buyers today. It feels really good. I'm selling houses, and this is all gravy, right? But then I plateau. This is time. So the thing that goes across the bottom or the top is time. Over time, here's what happens. Here's what happens. So you plateau, right? And then you go right down into pain. Why? Well, you got to give up your weekends. You got to give up your big income goals that you had, because working with buyers, you can only earn so much income, right? And you give up your nights, you give up your weekends, and you can only close, like a good buyer's agent, you can only close 20 or 30 deals, right? And it puts you in pain long term. So what was the trade-off? This is second order consequences. You bought Zillow leads today, or you did an open house today to get an instant gratification, okay? Because you wanted to feel something today, because we've trained ourselves as human beings to want it, and want it right this second. I want it now. I want the like now. I want the TV now. I want the salt and pepper now. I want ranch on the side. I want to feel good now. Give me another beer. I want to get drunk now. I want everything now. I don't want to wait for anything. And this is so true in real estate. So you bought leads. You felt really good right now. But then you were in a bunch of pain because you were spending money. And you're constantly chasing these buyers all over town, nights, weekends. You can't stop, right? Puts you in pain in the future. Now, let me shift gears for a second. Let me walk you through a listing agent's life. Okay, let me walk you through a listing agent's life. See, what I'm suggesting, if you want to become a listing agent, is that you put yourself in pain first. That you pick a different route. That you pick what we call the hill. You choose the hard route right now, where you get no gratification. Not only do you not get any gratification, you put yourself in a shitload of pain. What do I mean by that? Well, here's what I mean by that. So, prospecting 3, 4, 6 hours a day with zero results, nothing. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be fully transparent. The listing agent path in the beginning, it's a dark, lonely, painful road. You get no pleasure from it at all. And most of your agents around you and your broker and your family and your wife and your husband, they're like, dude, what in the hell are you doing? You just sit there and make call after call and you're not getting any results. You're not getting shit. Why are you doing that? Why don't you go buy leads or something? And this goes like this for it goes months. You don't start to see any results really for about 90 days. But here's where the magic happens. Here's where the magic happens. For a very, very small percentage of people who stick with it, and it's very small. I mean, we have students in our training program right now. We have 77 students. There's only a handful of them really that show up every single day and do the work. Sometimes they do it for a couple of weeks, then they fall off. They do it for a couple of weeks, and then they fall off. Because of this pain that I'm talking about. Watch the magic. Watch the magic. So everyone, they're in a bunch of pain here, right? They're not making any money. Everyone that's surrounded with them is telling them that they're making a bad decision. And here's what happens over time. It does the opposite. So as the buyer agent plateaus and goes into pain, the listing agent long-term, he accelerates at an exponential growth. And he's in tons of pleasure. Tons of pleasure. Well, what does that mean, Brandon? Well, that means this guy's selling 70, 80, 90 houses a year, working Monday through Friday, no nights, no weekends, no debt, no outgoing expenditure for buying leads. And over time, this is over 2 to 3 years of really hard work, staying beneath the surface. this man or this woman rises right out of the water like an iceberg that you didn't see. And everyone's like, what the hell were you doing? How did you do that? How did you do this? You know, what lead source are you buying? Well, what magic CRM do you have? And you just turn around and you smile and you say, dude, I paid the price. I paid the price. And I understand second order consequences. And I understand that what puts me in pain today puts me in pleasure later. And what puts me in pleasure today puts me in pain later. And that's what you don't understand. That's what you'll be able to tell people in the future. Now, if this makes sense, put a comment below and says makes sense. Just go ahead and put makes sense in the comments below. Okay? Because I'm going to move on to something different here in just a second. So now you understand second order consequences and delayed gratification. All right? You understand second order consequences and delayed gratification. And you also know that things that put us into pleasure today, you know, sleeping in, watching Netflix, more hot sauce on our food, you know, more alcohol, more drugs, all these things are instant gratification, more cigarettes, all that is instant gratification that gives us pleasure today and pain long term. Well, in real estate, listing property is the same way. What you need to do and understand is that what puts you in pain today puts you in pleasure later. Okay, so that's the first thing, your first takeaway from today's training that you should understand when becoming a top listing agent. Okay, now let me walk you through the second thing. This is supposed to be a pendulum, but I don't know how to draw one. It kind of looks like an anchor, I think. But I'm going to just say it's a pendulum. So over here, we have pleasure again. And over here, we have pain. Now, here's how this works. This is more of a life training and a real estate training. All right? So here's what it looks like. Pleasure, here's how most people live their life, okay? So over here on pleasure is like, you know, vacation. And this is the pleasure I'm talking about. Vacation, money, time, family, health, you know, wealth, all of these things, all right? So this is the context that I'm saying pleasure in this example for the second thing that we're covering. And over here on the pain side, this is sacrifice, sleeping in, or I'm sorry, not sleeping in, waking up early. Waking up early, working out, prospecting every day, so on and so forth, all right? Now, watch this. Here's how most human beings live their life on planet Earth. They put themselves in a little bit of pain. So as the pendulum swings from one side to the next, you all know how a pendulum works, right? As it swings this way, it swings back the opposite way, and it's equal, right? And it's equal. So, as most people, they get a little bit of pain, so they only get to experience a little bit of pleasure, and they live right here. This is how most people live their life. Little bit of pain, a little bit of pleasure. Now, what I'm suggesting for you, if you're watching this training today, is that you push this pain pendulum as far as you can into pain. Well, why would I do that, Brandon? Somebody in the comments right now, I think there's 19 or 20 of you watching this right now. There's probably half of you paying attention. So of the ones paying attention, why do we want to push this pain pendulum as far as we can into pain? Make sacrifice, eat healthy, wake up, work out, prospect 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Why do we want to do that? Well, because we know that the pendulum is going to swing back this way. So here's the question for everybody. So here's the question. Sean, you're right. And here's the deal. So if you guys all know that and you understand how this thing works, if this is what you want, if you want to take more listings, make more money, have control over your time, create a life that you really, really want, well, think about this for a second. Can you control this? Not really. You can control this, though. You can control how much pain you put yourself in. And that's the question. Am I willing to put myself in enough pain to get enough pleasure? Most people are full of shit and they will say yes, but they don't do. The action is not there. So it's a very easy formula. Put yourself in as much pain as possible so that when it comes back, you can reap the reward. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. So that's number 2. We're going to move on to number 3. So this is all about how to create your new self. This new person that lists property like crazy, lists 40, 50, 60, 80 homes a year, makes 3, 4, 5, 7, 800,000, $1 million a year. So the number 3 thing that we're going to talk about is energy management, focus, and discipline. All right? So if you have any questions, type them in the comment box while I erase this, and then we're going to talk about energy management. So let's keep rock and rolling because we got a lot to cover. Energy. So energy is something that I think people underestimate, like how it works and how to use it to your advantage. And because here's why. So with energy, we only have a finite amount of energy. Everybody, right? Now we have different amounts of energy, like you have a different amount than I have, but you yourself, you only have how much energy you have, period, end of story. You don't like get to go to the store and buy more, okay? So you have a finite amount of energy each and every day. So here's the question. Here's what most people do, okay? So if this is the measurement, so let's just say everybody has 10 units of energy each day to give out, all right? So you got 10 units. And this equals 1 unit, this length, because I'm going to draw this out on the board so you can see how this works. So let's pretend for a second that we all have 10 units of energy. And this represents 1 unit of energy. Well, here's what most people do. So here's our energy. And they have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these all represent 1 unit of energy. Here's where everybody just messes the whole thing up. This is where everyone gets all messed up. They use each unit, this is 1 unit, they use 1 unit of energy on 10 different things, right? So Facebook, so they start doing Facebook ads, right? They do mailers. They go to networking events. They go to dinners. They go out to lunch. They go on YouTube, so on and so forth. And so they have so much energy, and they spread it amongst all this different shit. Well, what if you focus all of your energy, all 10 units of energy, on one thing, on searching, seeking for listings only? and you said no to everything else in the world. Hey, Brandon, do you want to go grab a cup of coffee? No. Hey, Brandon, there's this networking event tonight. You want to go with me? No. Hey, Brandon, we're going to this happy hour with this new lender in town. You want to go? No. Hey, Brandon, we got a broker meeting on Friday afternoon, and we're going to have tea and crumpets. You want to come? No, I don't. No, because all 10 units of my energy is not going to be spent watching Netflix, watching YouTube videos. It's going to be spent on listing property. So if I added up all 10 of these, and the line is about here, I'm going to use all 10 units on seeking listings. And so when you use all 10 of your units of energy, look at how much further you can penetrate that energy being used versus all these little things. If you spend 10 ounces of energy or units of energy on 10 different things, well, you can only move the needle so much, right? You can only move the needle so much. So if you're doing Facebook ads and you're spending 1 ounce of energy on that per day, well, your Facebook ads are only going to move 1 inch. So if you're going to do anything, my recommendation is that you spend all of your energy on one thing. All of your energy on one thing, right? You're not bouncing around from all these different things, all these shiny objects everywhere, like all these real estate agents are just addicted to, right? You focus all your energy on one thing. So let's keep moving forward. Now we're going to talk about inputs and outputs, okay? Inputs and outputs. So inputs, and outputs. Really, really, really important to understand what I'm about to walk you through right now. So let's talk about good inputs, okay? So this is good. Sleep. You see, becoming a listing agent has everything to do with getting great sleep. Well, why, Brandon? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Sleep is like another thing that's very underestimated. Sleep is more important than diet and exercise. If you sleep, it gives you the amount of energy that you need that you're going to have to use to become a great listing agent. It doesn't take a lot of energy to work with buyers. Well, it does in a different way, right? They suck your energy dry from a time perspective, but you're going to need a lot of energy going after listings, okay? So you need to sleep. You need to work out. You need to practice on, you got to practice on your skills, right? No, I know nobody practices anymore, but you should practice on your skills. You should prospect 2 to 4 hours a day. Okay, those are all good inputs into the machine. It's man and machine coming together. You're creating this machine, all right? So those are good inputs. And then obviously bad inputs are, staying up late. Watching Netflix on the couch. Not working on this, sleeping in, eating like shit. Like those are all getting distracted by every single thing that comes your way. You try to sit down and make 5 phone calls and you can't even focus for 90 seconds, let alone 2 to 4 hours. Are you kidding me? Those are all bad inputs, right? And so what happens? This is just like the pain pendulum. Inputs equal your outputs. Good inputs equal great outputs. And what am I talking about here, right? When you have good inputs, you get good outputs. You set appointments. You make money. You take listings. Well, Brandon, I know, I get this. You're talking about things are so simple. Well, common sense is not common practice. What most people do is this. They're filled with bad inputs, but they want great outputs. So they watch Netflix all week, didn't do shit, ate like shit, didn't work out, got distracted, watched 17 YouTube videos, getting all excited about all these podcasts that they're watching, And then they get mad when their outputs is nothing. They have no listings for the week, no appointments for the week, no money earned for the week. And that's what real estate agents do. Shitty inputs, but expecting great outputs. How is that possible? It's not. It's not possible. So I just walked you through a couple steps on becoming this new self, right? You learned about second order consequences. You learned about energy management. You learned about inputs and outputs. And now I'm going to transition. So if you have any questions, let me know, because I'm going to talk about the perfect schedule now. Okay. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to erase this if I need this. I'm going to talk about the perfect schedule. Well, the first word that you probably heard me say that probably scares you in becoming a listing agent is schedule. So yes, you need a schedule if you're going to focus on building a listing business versus going to chase every shiny object that are all buyers, right? Buying leads from here, going to do open houses here, buying, doing Google pay-per-click, doing Facebook ads, generating a bunch of buyer business and running around like a crazy person all day long. Well, if you're going to be a listing agent, you need to have a schedule, okay? So the schedule, the perfect listing agent schedule, all works with planning tomorrow, today. Plan tomorrow, today. So today, you need to plan everything that you're going to accomplish tomorrow, okay? Pretty simple concept. Number 2 is you need to go to bed at the same time each night. Same time. You're watching and you're addicted to your Netflix movie, turn the damn thing off, go to bed. Go to bed. You need to wake up at the same time every day. You need to work out when you don't feel like it. You need to meditate. Well, Brandon, why in the world would I meditate? And how in the world does meditation have anything to do with listing real estate and making money? Well, everything. Here's how. So if you're still paying attention, I know it's 42 minutes later, probably lost everybody, but if somebody's still out there, meditation helps you stay focused. So the art of meditation is doing nothing for 20 or 30 minutes every single day. Well, how does that help me, Brandon? Well, if you meditate, not just one time, I'm not talking about meditating for one time. If you meditate every single day, for 20 to 30 minutes in the morning, and you don't do anything. Meditation is the art of doing nothing, thinking of nothing, no distractions, no music, no nothing. It's the art of doing nothing. That helps you stay focused on one thing for a long period of time. And after you train yourself after a while, then you can start prospecting. Here's what's going to happen. If you start if you start meditating, you're going to find yourself less distracted. You're going to be able to control those urges to go and check that Facebook notification. You're going to be a lot less tempted to go and grab that shitty snack, because meditation trains your brain to stay focused on one thing. And that is what you need to be able to prospect and get listings. You need to be able to sit your ass in a seat for hours and hours and hours of time every day, without being distracted, in order to build a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 income. Meditation helps you with that. Now, let's keep going. The next thing is you need to try and eat the same breakfast every day. Why? Save energy. We need more energy. We've got to stop depleting our energy on shit that doesn't matter. So eat the same breakfast every day. I have a healthy smoothie every single day. I don't have to think about it. I know exactly what goes in it. And I make the same thing every day. You need to try and wear the same thing every day. And I'm not talking about the same shirt, the same underwear, the same socks, but the same type. So like my dress shirts and my ties, I try to get all the same brand, but just different colors, so I don't have to think about it, and you should pick that shit out the night before. Part of planning tomorrow today is, what am I going to wear tomorrow? What am I going to work out in tomorrow? Right? So you're planning all that stuff for tomorrow, today. Now, say no to everything that does not fit the morning routine. So in the morning, which I'm going to walk you through in just a minute, 8 till noon should be focused on finding and setting appointments. That's it. Finding, setting appointments, building your database. That's it. If something tries to come inside of that time, you have to say no. Okay? Next, you need to practice your craft and your skill every day. And then lastly, you need to take violent action in searching for listing opportunities and building your database for 2 to 4 hours every day, probably 6 days a week. So with all of those things, here is the perfect schedule. You guys ready? So write this down if you want it. Here's the perfect schedule. 9:30 p.m. Here's my schedule. 9:30 p.m. Plan tomorrow today. 9:30 to 10. 10 p.m. sleep. 6 a.m. wake up. 6:30 workout, 30 minutes. 7 a.m. breakfast smoothie. 7:15 role play. 7:30 shower and get ready. 8 a.m. till noon, violent action with no distractions, period. 12 to 12:30, lunch and break. 12:30, follow up on voicemails and emails and do administrative work. 1:30, prep for appointments and more admin, dealing with, all the shit that's coming in on your pipeline. 3 o'clock is my first appointment time. 5 o'clock is my second appointment time. Yes, you should have 2 appointments per day. 2 appointments. If you don't, you need to go back to the office and find more to fill your calendar, okay? 6 o'clock, I'm home for dinner and family time. 8 o'clock, I put the kids to bed. 8 to 9:30, I hang out with my wife and chill out and just do nothing and just chill. 9:30, plan tomorrow today. That's the perfect schedule, okay? So if you have questions or you want me to go through that again, let me know, but let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, let's talk about lead sources. So now we're going to shift. We've talked about who you need to become, how you need to become this new person. We talked about schedule. We talked about energy management. I'm going fast. We've been doing this for 46 minutes now. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Let's talk about lead sources. Here's the thing I don't understand. People why are you cold calling? Why are you cold calling? Why are you circle prospecting? Why are you doing any of that? Okay? There's something called natural selection. This happens in the wild. And let me give you an example. All right? So don't make fun of my drawing. I never said I was an artist. Okay? But there's something that happens in the wild as far as it relates to how lions eat. Okay? So here's my lion. Yeah, I know, it's bad. This is my lion, right? He's just hanging out here. And here's a big river. This is a river. And crossing this river is a bunch of zebras. All these little marks. Oh boy. These are all zebra. Now, if you didn't know, lions eat zebra, okay? But the lion does not get up. He does not get up and go chase all these zebras. If he did, they would be extinct. There would be no more lions. They would all die, and they'd be extinct. No, what does he do? He lets a process of natural selection take place. Well, Brandon, what does natural selection mean? Natural selection is a process in which happens in the wild. That also happens in real estate, ironically enough. And the lion waits to see this one little zebra. I'm going to use a different color. This one little zebra right here. He waits, and he's just watching. He's just watching, waiting for this natural selection process to take place until he sees the zebra that's struggling to get across the river, right? That's struggling. And I know it's sad, but this is how it works in the wild. He doesn't make a move until he allows this natural selection process to take place. Until he sees the zebra that is struggling so bad, then and only then does that lion take violent, massive action, and he gets the zebra every time. This is about 100% conversion. Yeah, I'm using conversion. I know I'm talking about lions and zebras, but it's about 100% conversion. Maybe it doesn't happen 100%. Maybe it's a 90% conversion. Maybe sometimes the zebra gets away. This is natural selection, all right? That is what natural selection is. Give me a thumbs up or let me know if this is making sense. Now, let me walk you through what happens in real estate, all right? All these real estate gurus and all these people are screaming from the mountaintops, number one, trying to get famous, not trying to help you, trying to get famous, telling you to circle prospect and cold call. Well, how in the world does that, why would you ever do that? Number one, I want any of you to find me somebody that's selling 80, 90, 100, 150 houses a year cold calling. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that says they're doing that, but when I talk to agents that cold call, they all sell like 20 or 30 houses. Well, 20, 30, 5 or 10 houses a year from cold calling. Well, why? Well, because here's the agent. This is the agent. And when you cold call and you're going after everybody, this is like the world, right? And you're calling random ass people. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ricky Caruth. Ricky's a good friend of mine. And I love that you guys are all putting Ricky. I knew you guys were going to put Ricky on there. I love it. So I want you to find me somebody of Ricky's students. And I just talked to one of them yesterday, his top guy. I went down and visited him, everything. He's been following Ricky, and nothing against Ricky, but he's been following Ricky for 8 months cold calling. And, I wish I can share my screen with you. I had a Facebook message with him yesterday. If you're on here, you know who you are, and it is what it is. I asked this guy, you've been following Ricky for 8 months. You went down to visit him. You're the guy or whatever. How many listings have you gotten from cold calling? Do you know what the answer was? 0. None. 0. 8 months cold calling, no listings. 0. Okay? So, and I would ask you, like Sean Connors, how many listings do you get per year cold calling? Honestly. Caroline Simmons, same thing. If you cold call, how many listings do you get per year? Now, if you told me, Brandon, I list, Sean, 0. Exactly. So we all see these people screaming from the mountaintop, cold call, cold call, cold call. Well, how come everyone that cold call doesn't get anything? You know what I mean? It's just interesting. Why would we just go call the general public? Why wouldn't we allow this natural selection process to take place? So let's talk about our lead sources. Okay. So I'm gonna write these. I'm gonna write a ton of them down. There's 10 of them. And again, please let me know if you guys cold call and kill it. Let me know. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear your story of cold calling into the wild and making $700,000 a year cold calling. I don't know anybody. Ricky, I just don't know if his 100 deals this year were all cold calls. I just don't know if they were or not. I don't know. So Caroline Simmons says at least 1 to 2 listings a month come from cold calling. It's awesome. And listen, if it works, great. But I would prefer to, and I wonder, I'm just curious how much time that takes to get those. However, so listen, you do your thing. However, I would much rather call somebody who I know with 100% certainty has to sell their house. That's what I would prefer to do. So here are the 10 things that we focus on. All right. So we call probates. For sale by owners. For rent by owners. We call expired listings. We call absentee owners. We call coming soon. Coming soon. Leases. Well, what's that one, Brandon? Well, think about this. We call homeowners that have rental properties that have a lease that's coming due in the next 60 to 90 days. 80% of landlords became a landlord on accident. They do not want to be investors. So wouldn't it make sense that you call these people when their lease comes due in 60 to 90 days, where it's a pain in the ass for these people to be landlords that want to sell all these properties? Well, yeah, you should say yes. That makes a lot of sense. Let me give you some more. Divorce. How many people know that when you go through a divorce, they either need to refinance the home or court ordered, they must sell the property. They have to sell the home. All right? So divorce. Pre-foreclosures too. Caroline, you're nailing it. That's right. That was like my next one. Defaults. Free and clears. Right? So free and clears, why not call all the people, we call them empty nesters, that have a house that Zillow make me moves? That's another good one. Defaults, empty nesters. Well, what about elders in assisted living? Do you know how people pay for assisted living facilities? Do you know how they pay for that? The property. They have to sell the property in order to pay for mom or dad's stay at the assisted living. Well, why not call the managers at the assisted living? I did this for a long time, and have them refer us, everyone that moves in there that has a house to sell. Well, to me, it's not right or wrong, good or bad. There's not this whole big old debate. Although I'd love to debate this with somebody. I asked Ricky to debate this with me, but he didn't want to go live and do this in front of everybody for some reason. So Ricky, if you watch this, man, I would love to do this live debate where we talk about cold calling versus calling these 10 and seeing if an agent spent 2 hours a day calling these 10 people or these 10 sources, not even those 10, 2 of those sources or 3 of those sources, calling these versus random people, I'd love to see how they shape out. So Caroline, I would ask you, are you calling any of these? And I would just ask you that maybe how many listings would you get per month if you never cold called again and you called people who you knew had to sell? Would it yield you more? I don't know the answer to that, but you can answer it for me. So, 8 Myers, Michigan says, where can you find divorce coming soons, free and clears, etc.? So I'll put a link below this video with my lead sources on how you can find all of those. Okay? And you can buy as many as you want of them. And so wouldn't it be nice to have I consider it all cold calling. Interesting. Caroline considers it all cold calling. Well, the only reason I think it's different, Caroline, why I don't think it's cold calling is if somebody has raised their hand and said, I would like to sell my house, and you call them, that's where I think it's a little bit different. Those are lukewarm calling. Fair enough. We can debate that. That's great. I guess my whole point is there, Caroline, is that I know that when I list 89 to 100 homes a year, calling these people, and then I go and try and circle prospect for 2 or 3 hours and have 2 people pick up the phone and tell me to kick rocks and never call them again, I don't know. My time doesn't yield back. It doesn't come back to me. Just cold calling. I just don't get it. All right. So now let's talk about some strategies. All right. Some strategies. We're going to talk about something called winning with base hits. Okay. So winning with base hits. What does this mean? This is the new age of listing properties. It's the new age. What's the old age? The old age of listing properties is and this is what every real estate trainer has taught for years. This is where you go and prospect and you look for a homeowner to essentially say to you, yes, I will list my home with you if you come over and I like what you have to say and I like what you do. I will list my home with you today on the spot. That's the old method. Now, think about it like this. This is what I always say to people. I'm interested to see how this would work in real life. And this is always the analogy that I use. So here's a man and here's a woman. All right, woman, man. And right now they're married. They've been married for 10 years. All right. And using the same methodology that real estate trainers have been teaching for 40, 50, 60 years, same methodology, this man calls this woman. All right. So here's a phone. Here's a phone. And he says, and Caroline, just because you and I are going back and forth, I'm going to use you just for a second. Ring, ring. I say, hey, Caroline, this is Brandon. Our good friend Nancy asked that I reach out to you, said you're an awesome woman that we should absolutely meet. And I was curious if you'd be willing to go out to dinner with me tonight. And Caroline, being the sweetheart that she is, she says, sure, I guess. I mean, we've never met before, but sure. Okay. So we're not married yet. We've never met before. This is 10 years ago. I call her and I say, and I use this script. And then I say, all right, well, great. Well, tonight when I meet you, I'm planning on getting on one knee and proposing to you. I'm going to open a box and I'm going to propose to you at our very first date. Now, if you like what you see and you like what I have to say, are you planning on marrying me at our first date? And Caroline says, hell no. No way. Nope. No, thank you. She hangs up the phone. She calls her friend and says, who in the hell did you just have call me? The dude's talking about marrying me at our first date. That is crazy. That is craziness. Who is that dude? Don't ever have him call me again. And so that's what real estate training has taught you when it comes to listings. Prospect, be super aggressive, use high pressure techniques, and get somebody to say, yes, I will list my home with you today on the spot the first time we ever meet. That's called a home run. Well, we believe that the new strategy and what's really working well for me and my students is what we call winning with base hits. Well, what's a base hit? A base hit is just going to meet somebody face to face and providing value, regardless of any outcome. Well, we have metrics to back this up. We know that agents cannot cold call for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every day, getting tons of rejection, not setting appointments because they're looking for the home run. They end up quitting and they go look at all the shiny objects. We believe that that's one of the core foundations of shiny object syndrome, because we've been listening to this advice for years that no longer works. And, agents can only handle so much rejection and so many people hanging up the phone. Where winning with base hits, it's the same thing, calling Caroline and saying, hey, Caroline, this is Brandon. How are you? Good, good. Your friend asked that I call you, said that you're a great woman and that we should meet. And listen, I wanted to take you out for dinner and just get to know you, right? Let's not commit to doing anything, but let's just get to know each other and see where it goes. Is that fair? And Caroline says, yeah, you know what? That'd be great. That's a base hit. We do the same thing in listing property. We call those 10 lead sources. We ask to get together face-to-face. Let's not commit to doing anything. Let's get face-to-face. We'll have a conversation that would cause your home to sell, and then you can make a decision in the future whether or not it makes sense for us to work together or for whatever you decide to do. That is how we list a ton of homes. No longer are we being super, super high pressure, very aggressive, and looking for people to marry us on the first dates. No longer are we doing that, okay? Let me know if that makes sense. That's probably a huge change for most of you. And then the last thing I want to talk about, and then I'm going to open it up to some questions if there are any. That's a strategy. Now let's talk about tactics. So when we look at tactics, we are now all focused, when I say me and my team and the students in which that I teach, we're all focused on something that we call reverse selling. Reverse selling. Well, what is reverse selling, Brandon? Well, it's the opposite of what everybody on YouTube and all the gurus are telling you to do as far as being super aggressive, overcoming people's objections, all of those things. We are doing the opposite, right? Somebody says that they want to list their house with their old agent. We say, of course, makes sense that you would list the house with somebody that you trust. That's an example of reverse selling. Here's another example of reverse selling. You know what? We probably need to talk to a couple people before making a decision. Well, of course you would, right? I mean, if you made a decision now, I would recommend that you do talk to a couple of different people before making a decision. Why? Well, because you need perspective, right? That's natural human behavior. You need perspective before making decisions, all right? So we use reverse selling. It's a methodology based on the great philosopher Socrates. And we use the Socratic questioning methodology. It's all based on leading with contribution, without wanting anything in return, asking questions, leading people down their own decision, where they can make a decision on their own. Okay, so that's a high level overview of reverse selling. So with that, hopefully you have some good key takeaways from today's quick, felt like it went quick, but that was an hour-long training on a high-level understanding of what you need to do in order to become a listing agent. If you want to take this thing to the next level and you want to just jump on a quick call with me and understand a little bit more about, maybe reverse selling or some of the tactics and strategies or some of our different lead sources, you could just click the link below this video and you can watch our training on for sale by owners. You can schedule a call personally with me. You can just pick a time on my calendar and we can talk about how you become a listing agent next year in 2019. You can do all of those things if you click the link below this video, okay? So Sean says, awesome. Do you have any videos talking to expireds? Yeah, I got tons of them. So hopefully that's helped you guys. What questions do you have, or what can I answer for you guys over the next couple of minutes before we part ways, before we get into the weekend? What can I do for you? What can I help you guys with? What do you need help with? And you can always post your comments and questions below this, and then I will go back and answer these over the next couple of days as well. But again, I think that in order to become a listing agent, you have to, you're going to have to go through a transformation of becoming somebody that you're not today. It's the same thing that I went through, right? It's the same thing that I went through. When I was selling 20, 30 houses a year and working mainly with buyers 7 days a week, I was pretty stressed out. My wife wanted to leave me. And then I had to make this transition into somebody that I wasn't back then to where I am now, where I'm working Monday through Friday, no nights and no weekends, listing homes, focusing my energy, taking care of myself, my mind, my body, and honing all my energy into getting listings, staying focused, and getting listings so I can get a return on that focus, earn a major, massive income, higher than it's ever have been in my whole life, and have more time and freedom than I've ever had in my life. All right, Sean Connor says, who has the best data? RedX sucks. Well, I guess it's subjective. I use RedX, and I'm going to make $500,000 this year off RedX leads. So tell me what the better leads are, because I would love to take my $500,000 income and get it to another level. So I like RedX. I like Vulcan 7. I like Share Data. I like them a lot. I like Remine a lot. I don't really think it's the data, Sean, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's the leads, dude. Like, there's no such thing as the leads suck. I really don't believe that. So you have So you have suggestions on best ways to get yourself on the path to take massive action. Ask that question again, because I'm not sure what you're asking there. Keys, Michigan, or Keys, MI. Oh, do you have any suggestions for the best ways to get yourself on the path to take massive action? Got it. Yeah, watch the beginning of this training. Don't make decisions on instant gratification. So that's number one. If you want to be a listing agent and take massive action, you need to understand and appreciate delayed gratification. In becoming a listing agent, if you're just starting from scratch, you need to make peace with the fact that you're going to go 6 months with probably nothing in return. And you need to make peace with that, knowing that all your results are going to come later, and they're going to be massive results. But the problem is people can't get through that 6 months worth of pain. They get way too distracted, jumping on everything, and they end up going to chase buyers around. How did you figure out all of your skeletons and overcoming them? Joseph asks. Well, I think it's a really good question. And I think it starts with being self-aware. I think being self-aware is something that is very, very under appreciated. So once you understand that, like, dude, I'm fucked up. Like, I have a lot of change I need to go through. It's the internal compass, Joseph. So as you're going through your days and your weeks, I'll give you an example. If you go through a day and you're sitting down and you're making calls and you're prospecting, let me get my little thing. Hold on. So you're on the phone, right? You're on the phone and you're prospecting and you're focused and your phone dings or your phone rings. This is your internal compass, Joseph. Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense. Regressing to baseline, regressing to old self is going to grab the phone or going to grab the notification on YouTube. Okay, so that's old behavior. New behavior could be, nope, I'm not going to be distracted with that. I'm going to focus right here, right now, and I'm not going to be distracted. That's progressing to new self. So what you want to do is you want to put together days like that where you don't become distracted. And you want to see, well, how many days can I put together like that where I'm not checking Facebook, where I've deleted YouTube? And then over time, you train yourself to be more disciplined, to be more focused, and eventually it goes away. Joe Muck says, because I agree with 98% of what you say, how many referrals do you generate from FSBO's expired listings? I think, yeah. So when we look at referrals from a holistic standpoint, I mean, 30% of my business, maybe more, comes from my database. Referrals, past clients, centers of influence, 35% come from referrals. Now, I don't categorize people as FSBO's expireds. I just look at them as people. So that's the only thing I would change about that, Joe. I think, yeah, Joe Muck, is I don't look at them as a FSBO or an expired. I look at them as a person. And I go there and create massive value in that person's life. And I go build an awesome relationship. Well, that person sends me referrals all the time. Actually, if you want to categorize FSBOs, that's probably where I get most of my referrals from. Why? Because a for sale by owner has had a bad experience with an agent in the past, or they don't value what it is that we do. Well, when they meet me and they have an awesome experience, their whole mindset, their whole worldview on real estate agents have changed because of me. And so then they feel that law of reciprocity and they start referring me a ton of business. All right, so Ronald asked a good question. At the moment, with the market beginning to shift, are FSBOs more productive than expireds or vice versa? I think they both become more productive because the FSBO isn't selling on their own. Like if you went after FSBOs like me over the last 5 years, I mean, a huge percentage were selling on their own. Like ask anybody who were going after for sale by owners, a big majority of them, not majority, a big percentage of them were selling on their own. Now they're not. They're just sitting on the market. They're not selling. And then expireds, if you've been going after expireds over the last 5 years, there haven't been any. So now there's a lot more of those. So I think they both become really critical. Great question. So let's see if there's any more questions. Yeah, I think that's it. So awesome, Joseph. That's great. Yeah, no problem. So thank you guys for watching today. Hopefully it provided you got some key takeaways. Like that's my goal. Anytime I train or coach, I want somebody to be able to walk away with something that they didn't have when they came to the training. So if you got one thing away from this, then I classify that as a win. And again, if you want to catch up with me or you want to ask questions about how you can grow your business, just click the link below. It'll go to my website. And then on the top of my website, it'll say, hey, let's talk. You just got to click that button and then you can schedule time right on my calendar. So Keys, you're one hell of a motivator. Yeah, listen, no, I mean, it's just, I care, man. There's a lot of bad advice out there. And I think that we owe it, guys like me owe it to you to give you good advice, like what I'm actually doing in my business. So many real estate gurus haven't sold a house in years, right? 20, 30 years, they haven't sold a house, and they're trying to give people like you advice. I just can't, it doesn't make any sense to me. So you guys have an awesome, awesome weekend. Let me know what I can do to help you guys in the future. Best of luck on your goals and accomplishing those goals in 2019.